Hi everybody, it's Ann Patchett at Parnassus Books, and it's Friday, and if you haven't read this book, it's new to you. Now I'm going to tell you a book you haven't read because it's not coming out until September. This is Buckeye. This is a novel written by my best friend, Patrick Ryan, who happens to be standing right next to me. You can pre-order this. This book is going to be huge, coming out September 2nd. It is amazing.
Thank you.
Because Patrick was coming to visit, just on a friend visit as opposed to a novel visit, I asked him if he would do a new to you video for me. And I'm so excited because you picked a book I've never read and I've always wanted to read. So pitch it to me.
Okay, this book is called Ordinary People by Judith Guest. Everybody knows the title, everybody knows the story because it was turned into a very popular movie in 1980, 4 years after it came out. The reason I thought it would be a really great new to you pick, even though it sold 500,000 copies, it was a bestseller, it's still in print obviously, is because you're an example. I have never met another human being who has read this book.
Wow. And I've seen the movie a couple of times and I loved it. Yeah, everybody saw the movie.
Everyone knows it was a book, but I've never ever spoken to one person who's read this book. It is set in 1975. It's about the Jarrett family. They are a family of three, a mother, father, and a son. The year before the book opens, the oldest son has died in a boating accident that the younger son was involved in. And in the ensuing year that leads up to the start of the novel, the surviving son has tried to harm himself and has been committed to an institution and is now back home. So this novel is the year after that. It covers 1 year. It's fast, it's slim, it's economical, which I really love.
Yeah.
It's told in alternating perspectives from the father and the son, these short chapters. It's a deep, and it's in present tense.
Ooh!
So this is the first book I ever read in present tense, and it blew my mind.
Present tense is really hard. Yeah.
I just felt like I was being inappropriate by reading about these people, because it's so intimate, and I felt like I was in the room and on the wall. It's a beautiful, deep, intimate dive and a wonderful book, and I recommend it. A little bit of backstory.
Okay.
Judith Guest wrote this over the course of 3 years. It was her first book. She either didn't want to get an agent or didn't know that she should, so she just started sending it out to publishers.
Wow.
Rejection. An editor at Viking took it, and it became the first book that Viking published from the slush pile in 26 years.
And I'm sure the last book Viking published from the slush pile ever since.
And she said that she started as a short story, and then she got so involved in the characters, it started to grow. But what she ultimately realized was that the book is, she called it, an anatomy of depression, which is really, really interesting because it's the depression of both these characters, the two main characters, the father and the son. The mother is also a main character. She doesn't get a voice. I mean, she's a huge character in the book. She's just not one of the perspectives.
Right.
So there's Judith Guest, who's got this book that she didn't have an agent for. Viking has taken it. A car comes down the road to her house. A man gets out and he says, "Hi, I'm Robert Redford."
The way that happens some days. Yeah.
I read your galley. I loved it. Can we make a movie out of it? So hooray for galleys. And he then gave it to Alvin Sargent, I couldn't remember that name, to do the adaptation. Alvin Sargent did Julia.
Oh my gosh.
Which is another fabulous adaptation. Right. And so I came to this book the way almost everybody else did who read it, which is that I read it after I saw the film. I was 15, I read the book, I loved it. I didn't know it was about depression. It really spoke to me.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting.
Okay.
And then I read it again about 5 years ago, and it's so good and it holds up. So it's one of those situations where it's a fabulous film, it's a fabulous book. One doesn't ruin the other.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to go on an airplane in a couple of days, and this is what I'm taking with me to read. Ordinary People, Judith Guest. Thanks so much.